So yeah, my favorite joke is that I had to pull out because my husband didn't. I'm going to be uploading a preview video for every pay-per-view. So a fairly, probably not like crazy in depth because we don't want to keep you guys here for an hour, but a preview breakdown for every pay-per-view. And in addition, I'll be doing videos in between. I'll be doing interviews, top 10 lists, stuff like this, where it's just sort of off the cuff. And yeah, I don't know. The channel's growing. I'm growing with the channel. So the long answer that I'm trying to give you is I don't have like a perfectly set up plan, but I do know for a fact that for every pay-per-view, I will be providing some sort of a preview. So how old do you think is too old to start training MMA and do amateur fights? That's a great question. I guess it depends on what you want to get out of it, but if your question is accurate and you just want to do amateur fights, there are great programs. In particular, one program called Wimp to Warrior. I'm involved with them. You probably haven't heard me talk about it on my Instagram in a while because we're in the middle of rebranding and relaunching here in the United States, but it's the same program, so I'll talk about it anyway. It's the only program that I know of that is what I would call a great, safe, perfect way to start an MMA journey. And I was about to say a career in MMA, but it's not really for if you're looking for a career in MMA. I think a lot of people are attracted to MMA for the same reasons that I was when I first started, and that's for mental health and fitness and just how training challenges your mind and kind of what you, I guess, discover about yourself. So when it comes to that, there really is no age limit. In fact, that program has had grandparents compete. We have had amputees compete. I mean, it's a really cool program. So if you're interested in kind of going down the path of training MMA and rocking up to ATT isn't really an option for you, I highly recommend you find a gym that is running one of these Whip to Warrior programs, soon to be renamed and soon to be relaunched. So keep an eye out for that. The most intimidating fighter you've ever been around? Gosh, man, a lot of them can be pretty intimidating when they're in fight mode. I'm usually talking to them as a reporter or in some sort of television setting. So really it's the fighters that don't like doing TV that are the most intimidating to me because I'm not about to fight them. Ben Rothwell is incredibly intimidating, not just because of his size, but because he gives off the impression that he hates being interviewed. And I mean, if you've ever seen one of his walkouts, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Will you ever try to be a commentator on fight nights? I think you'd be great at it. Well, thank you for thinking I would be great at it. And yes, it's basically all I've been trying to do for the past few years. I'm sure some people are sick of me talking about it, but yeah, that's the goal. That's the hope. We'll see if we can make it happen. Or what was your favorite or most memorable fight? For me, that'd have to be my amateur title. I won a amateur 105-pound title. I don't even remember what year it was, to be honest with you. It was a really good fight, a really, really tough fight. It was the first time I ever fought. I'm 5'5", and I fought at 105. It was the first time I ever fought a girl that was actually taller than me at 105, which is crazy. I think she was like 5'7". And she was good, but it was a crazy, crazy fight. I had my arm popped at one point because she got me in a really good arm bar, but I didn't tap, and the ref didn't see it like pop. So we just kind of kept going, and I ended up coming back and winning a really close decision there. But man, it was a good fight. And it was kind of the first time that James Krause was really super involved in like my camp. And I mean, he was a teammate even before then, and we trained, of course, but this was kind of the first time he took on like more of a coaching role with me before he was a coach. So the things that we worked on in the lead up to that, in particular, this like body kick combo played out perfectly in the fight. I almost knocked her out with a body kick, but it didn't quite happen that way. Anyway, that was a good one. It's a good memory. What do you want to achieve in 2022? Gosh, a lot. I'm a pretty goal-driven person, but yeah, the goal is, back to the previous question, the goal is to be able to call at least one, if not more, UFC fight nights. So we'll see if we can make that happen. What is your dream job? I have my dream job. How long have you been practicing MMA? I started training MMA at the end of 2006. So that's a long time. Gosh, that's a long time. Yeah, that's crazy. I hadn't done the math on that in a long time. So yeah. Why did you stop your MMA career at 1-0 as a pro? I really had no intention of stopping. What happened was I was in camp for my next fight. I had a good amateur career. I think I was 6-1 as an amateur. Yeah, 6-1 as an amateur, 1-0 as a pro. I was fighting for Invicta, which at the time was the top of the mountain for female fighters. And I was in camp for my next fight. And I'd had hard time cutting the water weight in my previous fight. And I was reading online that if you switch your birth control, like, it can really affect how much water you retain. And so I decided to do that. And I thought I had done all the calendar calculations correctly, and I had not. So yeah, my favorite joke is that I had to pull out because my husband didn't. So I got pregnant. And, I think it's not that I couldn't have come back and kept fighting. I'm always amazed at the women that do that. It's very impressive to me. And I could have done that physically. I mean, I got back to training within 6 months of having the baby, of having my son. But for me, it was just the payoff of, dedicating 6 hours a day to train MMA or raise my son. And at the time, like I said, the top of the mountain, if you're an atom weight, you're making 3,000 to show, 3,000 to win. That's, to me, that just wasn't enough of a real career to say, hey, I'm going to dedicate all this time away from my son to chase, what felt like a dangerous hobby, at the time. Could I have, I still don't think I could have really transitioned successfully to strawweight. So I'm happy with how things happened. But yes, I didn't stop because I sucked. I stopped because I got pregnant. If the UFC offered you a fight, would you take it? If they offered me a fight at 105, which would mean they'd have to open up a whole new division, so that's really, I don't know how likely that is, I would be super tempted. But the reality is that window is really, really closing and might already be shut. My focus now is my broadcasting career, and realistically, to get back into fight shape, I would want a solid 6 months of not working in television and just completely focusing back on myself as an athlete. And that'd be really hard to do. So probably not. Will we ever see an atomweight division and a complete women's featherweight in UFC? Atomweight, I do think atomweight will happen one day. I think as we move into China and some of the Asian countries where you have a lot more smaller framed women, I think there are a fair number of atomweights already, but I know that you have to have a pretty big pool to keep that top cream of the crop roster filled, as we're seeing, struggling with some of the other women's divisions right now. Women's featherweight, listen, I think same thing, as the reality is that women's MMA is a much younger sport than men's MMA is. And I think it'll take another 10 years, but you're going to see more girls as they grow up see MMA as a real, career opportunity. And as a result, you're going to have more athletes that are attracted to taking that route in life. So I do think that we can get to the point where we have a full atom weight and women's featherweight as well as the rest of the women's division. So I think we'll get there. Oh, do you see the UFC having mixed gender class? No, it's a terrible idea. It will never happen. Why do you sleep with makeup? Well, I don't always. And I feel like this is like, might be a diss, but I'm reading it as a question. When I do sleep with makeup, and I actually do sleep with my makeup on a lot, it's because I'm lazy. And because for whatever reason, it does not cause my skin to flare up, and I'm lazy. Best feeling in a fight. Like, have you ever internally paused and thought, okay, this? Yes, I have actually. My first ever amateur fight was that moment. I really didn't think I was going to be a fighter. I just wanted to train MMA in terms of, and learn it as its own martial art. And then I started training at, well, what's now Glory. It wasn't called Glory at the time, Glory MMA and Fitness. And everybody there competed. And so I kind of like got, I don't know, goaded into taking my first amateur fight. And I ended up causing my opponent to verbally submit to strikes. I had her mount, and I gotta tell you, there's no, this is going to sound like a psychopath when I say this, but there is no better feeling, there's no better drug than subduing another human being with what is essentially your bare hands. So maybe that says something about my psyche, I don't know, but I think any other fighter watching this will know what I'm talking about. Do you wear colored contacts? No, these are my actual eyes. I do wear contacts, but that's because I have terrible vision, but they're clear contacts. They're not tinted. What female and male fighter you think is flying under the radar now? Off the top of my head. Okay, Jeff Molina. Jeff Molina, flyweight out of the gym where I train, Glory MMA and Fitness. Phenomenal flyweight. He won't be under the radar long. And then I would say for females, Erin Blanchfield. Love her. She's dope.